All right, today we're going to crack the code on a 10-mark GCSE chemistry question. And our secret weapon? It's the official mark scheme. We're going to break down exactly what the examiners are looking for, point by point, so you can grab every single mark.
Okay, let's get right into it. Here's our challenge. Question 06. It's all about polymers, and it's worth a massive 10 marks. We're going to tackle this piece by piece and see exactly how to lock in every point.
So, let's kick things off with the first part. Now, it might look pretty simple, but even a one-mark question like this can teach us a ton about how these mark schemes actually work. Okay, so the question itself is pretty straightforward. When polyesters are made, a small molecule gets kicked out. All you have to do is name it. You'd think there's only one right answer, wouldn't you?
Well, hang on. Let's try to think like an examiner for a second. Before you just scribble down the first thing that pops into your head, it's really worth knowing if there are other ways to get that mark.
And this is where it gets interesting. The official mark scheme actually shows us there isn't just one correct answer, there are 4. You could write water or its formula, H2O. But you could also put hydrogen chloride or HCl. So knowing this gives you way more options to bag that one crucial mark.
All right, on to part 2. This time it's a visual task, and it's worth a whopping 3 marks, so precision is everything here.
So here's what the question gives us. We've got the propene monomer and the beginning of the reaction. Our job is to finish this diagram to show the repeating unit of polypropene. And with 3 marks on the line, you better believe every little detail counts.
And this is absolutely key. The mark scheme literally breaks it down into 3 separate jobs, and each one is worth a mark. First up, you've got to change that double bond into a single bond. Second, you need to get all the attached atoms and groups in exactly the right places. And finally, you have to show it's a repeating unit by adding those trailing bonds and the little n.
And here it is. This is what the perfect answer looks like. You can literally see how following those 3 specific steps from the mark scheme gets you straight to the perfect answer. It's like a roadmap to full marks.
Okay, moving on, we've got a reasoning question. This one isn't just about what you know from the textbook, it's about applying that knowledge to a real-world issue, sustainability.
So we're asked to explain why a carpet made from a mix of polypropylene and wool is more sustainable than one made from just pure polypropylene or pure wool. It's a 2-marker, which means we need to come up with 2 solid reasons.
So how do you make sure you get both of those marks? Well, you have to give 2 different valid points. Let's take a look at what the mark scheme says is fair game.
And wow, look at this. The mark scheme basically gives you a whole menu of options to choose from. You could mention that polypropylene is from a non-renewable source or that it's not biodegradable. Or you could flip it and talk about the problems with pure wool, like it needs replacing more often. All you have to do is pick any 2 of these, write them down clearly, and boom, that's 2 marks in the bag.
All right, here we go. The final boss. This is the biggest part of the question. It's a 4-mark evaluation, and it's all about digging into the data in a table and making a balanced call.
First things first, let's look at the evidence. This table lays out 4 different properties for polypropene and polyester, and our job? Use this info to argue which one is better for a firefighter's uniform.
Now, if you want to get those top marks, you have to give a balanced argument. The mark scheme wants to see that you're looking at both sides of the coin, the pros and the cons. So for polyester, yeah, you'd mention its great flame resistance and high melting point. But you also have to point out the downsides, like its high density making the uniform heavy.
And this is the secret key right here. This quote is straight from the mark scheme, and it's gold. It tells you, flat out, that you'll top out at 3 marks if you only talk about the good stuff or only talk about the bad stuff. That balanced argument is exactly what pushes you from a good answer to a top-tier answer.
Phew! Okay, so after tearing apart that 10-mark question, what have we actually learned? Let's pull together the key strategies for using a mark scheme to your advantage. Look, the big takeaway is this. The mark scheme is so much more than just a tool for teachers to grade your paper. It's your playbook. It shows you exactly how to build your answer, where the points are hiding, and what a perfect response actually looks like.
When you use the mark scheme to get inside the examiner's head, you can tackle any question with a ton of confidence. You're not just guessing anymore. You're strategically hunting down every single mark available. It's a total game changer.